Yo, what's good, guys? We are back at it again. Have a tier list for you guys today. We're gonna start rattling off the tier list content. Try to get that out of the way before like the monthlies and new BR and a bunch of other stuff comes, right? So this will be prior to those videos. I'm sure there will be some S tier material guys coming out in some of those programs, but as of right now, you can see it's pretty late. We just finished stream. I'm doing this right after stream, trying to get it up for you guys. So we're gonna start this Aaron Judge card. Not a completely awful card. I think his swing is fine, and I think he has enough power to where he will be a good corner outfielder for guys that play on All-Star. But if you're looking for cards that do a little bit more, that will lend themselves to higher difficulties, he's not your guy. A lot of that same stuff can be said about Soriano, except I think his swing is trash. His contact numbers are better than the Judge card, but the power numbers aren't. Not a ton to like. I tried to include those affinity guys, even though a lot of them aren't very good, just because they are free cards. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be looking for those budget options, aka those affinity guys. McCutchen, great swing, plays good defense, is a little bit slow. So again, I would probably put him in a corner spot instead of center field. But has a good swing, plays okay defense, is kind of fast but kind of slow at the same time. Doesn't have any quirks, which is news to me, which kind of sucks. And the power numbers kind of suck. So that's a lot of negatives. He might drop to A tier, but as of right now, I think he's the best outfielder I've seen. This Santander card, I'm putting in B for one reason. As a DH, he is arguably S tier. But as a pure outfielder, his outfield defense is absolutely horrendous. If you can work this card into your lineup, it should be a DH. He should not be in the outfield. Austin Riley does not play a terrible left field and swings an elite bat. If you can't work him in at third base or first base in your lineup, left field can be a very good spot for him, especially if you start putting parallels on him. This Harper card, my experience with a lot of these affinity cards is kind of skewed because I use the Jazz captain. I think that captain is going to kind of change a lot of people's perceptions of these cards. And if you want to use that captain, it makes all these cards even better. But Harper obviously has his normal swing. I'm not sure how bad his defense is. You can see 71 speed, 75 fielding, good arm strength, poor reaction. So yeah, that's kind of what I felt going into that. So I'm going to drop him down to B tier, even if you do get the full Jazz and give him 5 more speed. I don't think it's going to make him that much different. Obviously, if you do enjoy that Harper swing and you do want to run the Jazz boost, he has good clutch, so he could be a decent DH for you, but again, probably not a guy I would stick in the outfield. I think that A tier is going to be more reserved for guys like Buck O'Neil, who play amazing outfield defense and have great contact. It's just the power is lacking, right? So he is deficient in one area of his game, whereas all these other guys, you can just poke holes through them left and right. Same for Buxton. I think he's defensively still arguably the best defensive center fielder in the game. But honestly, I used him in an event run, and his swing was trash. I don't like what they've done to his swing. I never really liked his old swing, unlike that Lightning card they had a couple years ago that everybody loved. But I absolutely hate the new swing even more. Not a big fan of him. Cedric Mullins, very slow and doesn't really even have the contact you would want, and definitely doesn't have the power you would want. His swing is elite. His swing is butter. But if you are going to play him, I'd probably put him in a corner spot because as a center fielder, he's not that great. Charlie Blackmon, you can make the argument for S tier for this card. Honestly, I kind of slept on him on Affinity. You can see max out contacts against both sides, above average power against lefties, probably right on average to below average against righties, and doesn't even play a bad outfield, right? 78 reaction, that's a little lower than you would like, but still playable. And then 79 speed with gold defense and a good arm. This card's actually very slept on. Has breaking ball hitter, has a slap swing, so you shouldn't get jammed too much with him. Love that Charlie Blackmon card. Think that card is super slept on. He is in the Team Affinity reward path, and everybody should have him. He is a good free card. Bellinger, and as I think we're starting to see kind of this tier develop, I'm not sure if McCutchen's going to hang around the S tier too much. Bellinger, amazing swing, has good quirks, and plays a decent defensive outfield. Again, a little bit slow to be in center field, so I'd probably put him in a corner spot, but in a corner spot, he's absolutely elite. Corbin Carroll, I'm going to ding him for the swing and his hitting stats against lefties. But if you really like him, he could make the argument for S tier. I just don't know how many people are really going to like that card. I'm sure there are people that do, but me personally and what I've been hearing, I don't really see it. So Craig should play a good defensive outfield. I guess I have to compare him with Buck O'Neil. They are very similar cards. You can see max contact, probably a little lower power than Buck O'Neil, but he is a little faster. So they are so similar to me. And I did use Craig earlier in the year, and he kind of raked. I don't think he's an awful option in the outfield. I just don't think he's super elite. I think you're going to run into a lot of the problems that you run into with Buck O'Neil out there. Granderson, absolutely elite card. I used this card in an event run. He went crazy. About average contacts, above average power against both sides, decent speed, decent reaction, decent fielding. Again, put him in a corner spot. Do not have him in center field, and you're talking about potential S tier. If you really like his swing, he is absolutely elite, and you could probably make the argument for him being S tier. Drew Jones, probably the new best defensive center fielder in the game. I think a lot of people will probably hit better with this card than they do with Buxton. You can see 99 speed, 95 reaction base, and I don't think he's too short. I think he's probably 6 foot, 6'1". And if he's even taller, then that's even better, right, from a defensive point of view. He's going to have 99 fielding with 99 reaction and 99 speed. He is the best defensive center fielder in the game. I do have some questions about his swing and whatnot, but I would take him over Buxton 10 times out of 10, even with the worst power numbers. Duke Snider, not a bad card. I think as an outfielder, he is below average defensively. Doesn't have the best stats against lefties. You're looking at 108, 95. I would say that's below average, not really where you want to be. But you will not see too many lefties now since Randy's gone and John is on the way out the door. And, at 60 days, out the door is kind of relative. But you get what I'm saying. Not going to see too many lefties, especially early in the season before a lot of people start getting that Kershaw. Dylan Cruz probably still has an argument for S tier. Me personally, I don't love his swing. But there's not a lot to not like about the card. In the last tier list, I was thinking he was slower than he was. He's actually very fast. So as a pure center fielder, not going to be up there with like those elite defensive center fielders like Buxton and Jones, but he should cover a lot of ground, and as long as he gets a decent jump, he should be all right in the outfield. This card, pretty slept on, honestly. Probably one of the best team affinity cards this Eddie Rosario, you can see slightly probably below average power numbers from what you'd want, but amazing contact numbers. Always has a good swing. Is a little slow, but plays a decent defensive outfield as long as you play him in left field and not in one of his secondaries. That is not a bad card whatsoever. Not sure what all these stream pop-ups are. So, Esquiel Duran, again, I've been preaching this card. Very good budget card. Does a lot of things well. Nothing amazing. This Gary Carter, I don't even know if I would rank him as a top catcher. I guess it depends on how fast he is. If you want to play him in left field, he has 48 speed. That's going to knock him for me. Obviously, his true value is as a catcher, but he can play that outfield spot. I just don't know why you ever would. The Springer card, I'm going to put him A tier, but I have had multiple experiences with him where the PCI is just so small with him that you get some swings that should be home runs that turn into pop-ups because how small his PCI is. The Stanton card, as a DH, could be argued for S tier. I think as, an actual outfielder, I don't really see it, but as a DH, he should be S tier. I like Giancarlo's swing the most I've liked it in years this year. I think this card's very slept on right now. I don't think a lot of people have used this card because he is a XP boss, and people are just starting to get to the XP bosses now. But this Giancarlo card is nasty. As a DH, I think he's S tier. I would probably try to keep him out the field, but he can play a decent outfield. It's not going to be completely awful. Hank Thompson has the argument for A tier. Jack of all trades, master of none type of card here. Below average contact against left, average against right, below average powers against both, I would say. He is kind of fast, not super fast. Has kind of good defense, not absolutely elite defense. Really, he's there for his versatility, and some people like his swing, and he makes a lot of team captain builds. But overall, I don't think I would argue him for S tier ever. Holness, this card sucks. He has absolutely no power. People love Holness for some reason, and those were cards with like 80 power. I'm pretty sure this one has 60, 70 power. That card's not playable. Jackie, very similar to Biggio and Buck, these outfielders that do everything great except hit the ball hard. So that is his deficient area. He's just not got the power numbers like that, but he will play a good defensive outfield, and he should be able to put the bat on the ball. It's just a lot of times when he hit it, it's not going to leave the bat too hard. Jason Bay, statistically, this card is not bad. I don't love his swing. I also don't hate it. You can see 125, 107, 92, 101. Really, his deficiency is his fielding is not very good. But if you just need a bat, maybe you need a DH. As far as team affinity goes, he's one of the better options. Javier Baez, I think you can make the argument for S tier if you stick him in left field. I got to see him without the boost. So he does get the Rollins boost, which would make him even better. But I think without it, you can still make the argument for S tier. I probably won't, but with the boost, he's easily S tier for sure. I don't think Granderson, Drew Jones, Corbin Carroll gets durability, but it doesn't help him. A lot of these guys don't even qualify for a boost. I think with the boost, Javi Baez easily S tier for sure. Jim Rice, this card looks good on paper. I'm pretty sure his swing is extremely mediocre, but as a corner outfielder, he does a lot of things that you would like. Bang on average, like contact versus lefties, above average contact against righties, below average power against lefties, about average power against righties for what you would want. Should play a good defensive outfield. The speed's a little lackluster, but he should get good jumps on balls, and he won't have like absolutely like no range. His swing's just questionable to me. He's probably more in this like Hank Thompson range. It's a free card. Everybody should get it eventually. It's in the XP path. I would just probably stay away from this card in general, but if you do want to try him and you do find some success with him, I would not be too surprised. Jock, put him in a corner outfield position. He should never play center field, but in a corner spot, he has a good swing, has awesome power numbers and decent contact numbers. Not a huge fan of the card, but it does serve a purpose. J-Ram, S tier without a doubt. You got switch hitter with a great swing, with good contact numbers, great power numbers, and he fits a lot of team builds, and he's fast. Basically, he's like Jackie with more power, and he's a switch hitter. Like, what is there to not like about that? Absolutely elite in the outfield there. The Soto card should not play the outfield. He's kind of like Rosario, but even worse. I think with the team captain boost, you can make the argument that he would be worth playing in the outfield, but for me personally, he's not. As a DH, I think he's got an argument for like A tier as far as DHs go. DH is a spot that has improved a lot in the recent weeks since my last few tier lists, but he is still not worth playing in the outfield. He is incredibly slow. The ball is going to have to be hit basically right at him, or it's going to have a lot of air time for him to field it. Not somebody I would look for. Griffey, S tier without doubt. Arguably the best center fielder in the game right now. But, some people want wild card Mickey, and then, a new center fielder came out that's definitely better than him. Marte, in a corner spot, probably has the argument for S tier. Has slightly below average power numbers for what you would want, and honestly isn't going to be an elite defensive outfielder, so I think that holds him back a little bit. He is very similar to Javi Baez, like stat-wise, kind of. Javi's got more pop, slightly less contact. Catel's a switch hitter. It is what it is. So, moving on. This Schwarber, we all know his true value is at catcher. But if you do absolutely have to work him in the lineup, don't play him at catcher. Because 56 reaction and 66 fielding is not good. He should be at catcher or at DH, never in the outfield. No shot. He is going to be probably the worst defensive outfielder in the game. The ego with a boost has an argument for S tier. Without the boost, I think he's just A tier. His true value in the outfield would be in center field because he is so fast. Has a great swing. Contact numbers are just a little lower than you would want to see. Power numbers are great. He's equal to these guys, right? He is the best of the rest is how I would describe him. I don't think he's S tier. I don't think I would put him in my outfield unless I was running like a team captain build. Same for Matt Olson. He's going to be pretty awful defensively, is kind of the vibe I'm getting. 48 speed. Good reaction. He's very Juan Soto-esque, right? He's not inherently a bad fielder. He's just so unbelievably slow that the ball's going to have to be hit right at him, basically. Max Clark could have an argument for S tier. I think I'd feel more comfortable with A tier. Obviously, you have John Donaldson and Kershaw and Leiter, who he will struggle against quite a bit, but he does have 95 speed, does have good reaction, will play a decent center field. I think the contact numbers are a little lower than you would like to see, and the power numbers are a little lower. So I think that holds him back, and I don't think I would ever play him over Dylan Cruz, but he is a good second option. The Snow card as a DH, S tier, easily. But as a pure outfielder, he's pretty much as bad as like Kyle Schwarber. You better hope, similar to pretty much all the guys in this tier, you better hope that their bat makes up for their absolutely atrocious defense because they are going to get roasted in the outfield. Trout, S tier, probably the best player in the game. Definitely the best center fielder in the game. Has a different swing, interesting. They kind of reduce his leg kick. I like it more now, honestly. I feel like the previous leg kick did kind of give you better timing, but the new leg kick kind of, you don't get ate up by the fastball. If you miss your cue with the old leg kick, you could get outlier fastball ran by you super easy. This new leg kick is very minimal, but still kind of achieves the same stuff timing-wise, and it makes this Trout card even better. I mean, the stats on this card are absolutely ridiculous. You see why this card averages going for 900,000 stubs. He is basically like the one we got at the end of last year. Makes a durability team, but he doesn't really need it, right? You're looking at what, like 123, 125, 120, 125 with 99 speed and 92 reaction superfractored. I mean, I can just do this. I don't know why I did all that mental math. I mean, you see this card. This card is absolutely insane. If Drew Jones didn't exist, I think Trout has an argument for best defensive center fielder in the game. He's just so tall. He gets these crazy animations. Absolutely love that card. Mookie, probably neck and neck with Griffey for like best of the rest outfielders, if you want to say that. In right field, Mookie is pretty much unmatched. If you put him on the Rollins team, he gets even faster. It kind of shores up the one deficiency that he does have. If you guys haven't seen this card, he is the collection card. Obviously, I'm just going to superfractor him real quick. Max contact, max power against lefties pretty much. Bang on average against righties. Maxed out clutch. Good vision if you do worry about vision. Maxed outfielder other than reaction, and he will have 93 speed on the Rollins team. What is there to not like about this Mookie Betts? He is absolutely crazy. Castellanos kind of falls in that DH only role. He is faster than all these guys, so I think he has more of an argument to actually be played in the outfield. But with that being said, I still would stay away from playing him in the outfield. Randy, I think his time has kind of passed him up. I think he's too poor of a fielder at this point to justify the bat. I don't think that many people use this card anyway, but he still does have that elite bat. It's just you probably want to work him in more as a DH now because all these other guys can kind of fill their position to some degree. This Reggie Jackson card, very similar to this Judge card. When I saw him, I thought of this Judge card. Extremely great power numbers, not a terrible fielder. It's just the contacts, right? So if you're on All-Star, this card's going to rake. Anything past that, I'd probably stay away from him. This Ricky card, probably like mid-A tier. We all know his swing sucks. It is awful. But if you did somehow enjoy the 99 Boss one earlier in the year, this one's here, and he's basically the same card. So if you've never used him, feel free to try him out. He is a free card. He is in the regular collections, I think, not the Team Affinity collections. So if you have never tried him, you can try him for free eventually. But yeah, I'd probably stay away from the card. Acuna, S tier, without a doubt. I think we have a little too many S tiers, so I think for me personally, I would probably drop out Chuck Nasty, probably drop out McCutchen, and this would be my cleaned up S tier for outfielders. If I'm considering outfielders, these are the guys I'm considering first before everybody else. And then all these guys are very good options as well. Ryan Braun, this swing sucks, bro. I would rather use Soriano 10 times out of 10 times. Statistically, Ryan Braun might be the best affinity card, right? I mean, max out contacts against left, average against righties, good power against left, below average against righties, good fielder, not super slow either. If you give him the jazz boost, he looks even better. This swing is terrible. I promise you it's terrible, and even if you do like it, I probably wouldn't put him over B tier anyway. Do not enjoy that card whatsoever. Sammy Sosa, I put him in here because I always forget him, and I always have to answer comments about him. I think he's fine. Would I be using him at this point in the year when all these other cards are, available to you? Probably not. But he is here, and if you do still really enjoy the Sammy Sosa card, I still don't think he's a bad option. I'm pretty sure his contact against like one side sucks, but other than that, he's fine. Yeah, so his contact against lefties is probably a little below where you would want, but everything else is perfect, obviously, and he is still one of the better defensive right fielders in the game. So for that reason, I still like the card. I just wouldn't be running him at this point in the year. Steve Finley, this card sucks. I would put him in a corner spot because this card's actually insanely slow for a center fielder. 68 speed, like that's just not going to get the job done. But he has okay contact numbers, okay power numbers, and his swing is awesome. If you've never used Steve Finley's swing, it's like a slightly better Charlie Blackmon. So I do really like his swing, but you're not using that card. And then Tim Salmon goes along with these guys. He is a DH. He should not be in your outfield. He's absolutely awful. 71 reaction, 60 speed. Those are only two numbers you really need to look at. But he does rake, and he does have a pretty decent swing. So for that reason, I think he's kind of along with these guys. Miggy Sano is probably the best out of these. But pretty much everybody in this tier is like DH material. They should be DHs, other than like Soriano and Ezekiel Duran. I'll figure out how to say his name eventually. But yeah, so that is going to be it for the outfielders in set 4, guys. These are the cream of the crop. These are the guys I think make it on a God squad. And then all these guys, if you have a reason for running them, I think they are more than fine options, and they could crack a God squad if you do really enjoy these cards. I think any of these could have a reason to be on some of the best teams in the game. And then down here, you're looking more budget options. You're using these cards because you have to, or because you really like these players. Stuff like that. But yeah, did want to update the sets for you guys since we did get set 4. Wanted to go ahead, update all my tier lists. You can look forward to infielders and all the pitchers coming up soon. Until next time, peace.